Hi everyone, and welcome to our review for the Kid Rock album, Devil Without a Cause. This here is the Classic Quest podcast, the show where we break down the classic albums throughout the hip-hop genre. And this is debatably, I would call it a hip-hop album. It would count.
It's like a rock hip-hop.
It's in the hybrid genre, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So it's definitely there. But either way, it's a Patreon request, so we're doing it.
That's right.
For we go through these albums track by track, giving our thoughts and opinions on every single song. Now, I would like to just establish this is probably a classic album for all terms and purposes, just on numbers and accolades and weddingness of the songs. Like, there are definitely songs on this.
Now,
depending.
hold up. I'm feeling like maybe like at like a bar or at like a country fair in like the beer tent.
But only God knows why is a slow dance song if I ever done heard one.
Yeah, at a country bar
Wedding.
and or
works. It's just got that time. Because the thing is, we're all gonna get older.
Too depressing.
But it's also
for
like
wedding?
I don't know, but it's got that nice slowness to it. Anyway, that's my thoughts. But then again, you don't really want me to curate your wedding as music. Either way, my name is Honest Roy.
I am your lady friend Bonnie.
And that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna talk about this project track by track. This Kid Rock Devil Without a Cause, which it went diamond. It sold like 12.
It was platinum. Like it went 11 times or something.
Yeah, diamond. It like 11 million albums sold. This is quite the accolades for this project here.
Yeah.
So before we get into it, we used to get asked before we start answering right away why we do the projects. This here is a pitch and request from Mr. Scribble. So if you support our show, you can give us like $1 or more a month, and if you hit a certain tier, it's $5. You get to request some albums and get them reviewed in a timelier fashion than the comment section. And if you just like what we do, we could use the help, is all I'm trying to say. So that link's down below.
Yep.
I make music. I got a song dropping on this upcoming Wednesday, May 13th. You can find the DistroKid link where you can show some love down below in the description of the video. Okay, self-promo time is done. We're going to get into it, and we like to start off the show describing our familiarity with Kid Rock, where I think, unlike most artists we talk about, we can say, Bonnie, you can tell the people your familiarity with Kid Rock.
Yes, I am definitely familiar with Kid Rock. Not just from doing this show, because we have covered Early Morning Stone Pimp.
Yes.
We covered that one already. But
it's more than that.
It's more than that. Like this, like Scribble, I don't know what you've done. Like, you've opened up Pandora's box here. Like, this, I love this. Like, so like I was like so excited to do this album, and like this is great. Like, this is like, you may not know, but like I grew up in like rural Canada, and so we were pretty rednecky. So this was definitely heavily loved. This was heavily played. Like that's why when I hear Kid Rock, I think summer. I think, getting ready to, like, go hang out with the girls, to go to, like, the bar, to go, I don't know, to the country fair, like, that kind of thing. Like, it just has that kind of energy to it. And I like, vividly remember, like, where I was in my house, where I would listen to this, like, I would get ready to this kind of music, and like this was like a lot of just like so much fun. Like probably in like my older, like in the older grades, like grade 10, grade 11 or something like that. I definitely listened to a lot of his, and like, yeah, it's just like fun. It's like it was made for me, my white people, because it's made for like country redneck rock people that listen to like rock music. And then this is like a little nudge of like hip hop as well. So it's like, and it's, I don't know, it just feels like white enough for like all the rednecks. I don't know, it just works. So that's, I guess, you bought all these records. That's pretty much my familiarity with it.
Fair enough. And yeah, we did do the Early Morning Stone Pimp, which I guess was my like first foray into where he comes from a bit, but like, I mean, I consider wedding music to be anything that taps into communal nostalgia. Anything that can make a whole room sing along.
Would I
and say what you will
at my wedding? Maybe not.
Because we're like the same age. And if you take a bunch of people from where we come from, and I'm in the city too,
Like,
and you
I
throw
can see
everybody
certain
together,
of my friends
and you're at
listening
like
to this
the
at their wedding.
rowdier part of the wedding,
Yeah.
but a little later on,
Yeah.
everyone's a little faded, and you
But
hear
this isn't like really like dancing.
you hear
this
that
is
like build up. My name is Kid.
Or you hear,
and you hear that,
Cowboy.
and then everybody. That's it.
Like,
People will like start turning because there's a
you
lot
know
of
what's about to happen.
danciness to this music. There's a lot of grooviness to it.
Yeah.
So you got either the turn up moshy side, depending on your crowd, or you got the groovy side.
Mm-hmm.
Either way, there's a Kid Rock hit that we all fucking know from if you're our age in this group. Because like, how the hell could you not?
Like, it was all over the radio.
For
like,
a guy who we'll get there. For a guy who claims that he was not gonna care much for radio, he certainly dominated the radios of my high school
Like,
life.
I remember putting on, like, Much Music or MTV and, you know, watching the Kid
Did you
Rock.
get real MTV?
Yeah. Yeah, we got satellite when I was, like, 13 or something, you know. We finally connected, you know, we made it. Like, I, you know, certainly remember the years of dial-up. But anyways, yeah, so what was the question? I don't even remember now.
Either way, it's bangers.
It's good.
It's
good,
just
good
that
music.
it's got like it was pop music in my opinion. Kid Rock.
Oh yeah, I just remember.
Kid
like,
Rock
watching
is
the music videos.
absolutely
That
a
was
pop star of my high school era. So all throughout high school, he's dropping hits. I mean, I remember.
Like, were you listening to him in like high school?
Not later high school because he'd really stepped into country at that point a little bit more, like the Sheryl Crow song and stuff. I put your picture. Is that him? Yeah. That was really not my favorite, but at the same time,
Sheryl Crow was also quite popular at that time.
like Forever and Cocky when they dropped were like, wow, like just the idea of like cocky, like for real. When I hear those lyrics, they say I'm cocky, and I'm like, what? It ain't bragging, motherfucker, if you back it up. So I just try to back up everything in my life. I just talk shit about stuff I can back up. I very rarely on this channel will grandiosely say some shit that I literally cannot back up. I mean, I say some preposterous theories about the universe and stuff, but when it comes to myself, I try to stay within the realms of, like, what I can do, because Kid Rock said it ain't fracking motherfucker if you back it up, and I'm like, fair enough. So, it makes life simpler, and yes, there is a huge part of, I guess, my ethics that are governed by a Kid Rock lyric. But it's a good one. It's the difference to me between confidence and arrogance. I can come off arrogant, but that's only if you're insecure. I did say that, yes. But like Kid Rock was just everywhere. Like the stupid ass fucking music video with the toilet paper and you never met a motherfucker quite like me. And then they edited it to you never met a mother, and you're just like shut the fuck up. All that shit really bothered me. And I mean.
And you know what else is interesting?
So, I was talking to Scribble a little bit before this review, and like to be fair, I kind of called Kid Rock a bit of a sellout, and it isn't because of his musical choices. I mean, the Sweet Home Alabama cover to me is one of the most sellout songs I've ever heard in my life. Outside of that one, I gotta give it credit. Dude's always been fucking around with the countries and the hip hops, and he's always been.
He's true to himself and where he's from.
He's also always been a loudmouth, grandiose dude. To be a sellout requires you to like actually compromise the ethics and integrity of who you are to become something different for the sake of cash. If you was just grandiose from the jump, I guess you're not really selling out if you're grandiose with money. That's just kind of living up to what you are. Fair enough. I'm not going to touch the racism shit. A lot of people feel like, I was like, man,
I mean,
so check it. I just talked about Tekashi 6ix9ine and now Kid Rock back to back in terms of my pissing off everybody who subscribes to this channel. But no, I don't know enough about the dude, but I can say that if the guy... I can see why a lot of people might think he's racist. I can see why a lot of people might think he's a vulture. I personally don't know enough about his history to go either way on it. I just think that sometimes this shit comes off different, and if it really is about his politics of the modern era, or because he's currently super Republican, I don't know.
I know he likes Trump, I think.
Like
right?
stupid.
But
like I am not a fan of Kid Rock's 2020 politics personally. That's just my fair enough. But like, I don't know enough of that I've ever heard him particularly say anything overtly racist, except that time he dropped the M-bomb on that one track. But is that racist? I don't know. It's a convoluted era to go back to 98, to go back to this time with my 2020 ass lens and to make judgments about things I don't fully understand the history of. Okay. So I just wanted to touch on that because I feel like with a character like Kid Rock on a channel like this, it's worth like addressing that I'm aware of the reservations people may have. But at the same time, I don't know. I'm going back and forth a lot on the man versus the music kind of thing because Tekashi 6ix9ine's last tune's a banger. It's just a real banger. And the guy himself is like the Jeff Bezos of scummery. And I really do think that like Tekashi 6ix9ine is scummy as a human being. But he's really good at what he does. So like, I don't know where it draws. Even if Kid Rock is the worst, does that make this album less good? Does that make like 20 years of... And these are just questions I ask myself. So if you have thoughts on this...
Well, I mean, if we're going to get into that, it's like, why can't, I feel like I'm not supposed to watch Woody Allen movies anymore, and like that's kind of the same thing. It's like, do you separate the crime from
if you're
the
judging
art?
R. Kelly.
Same thing. No, sure. If you love R. Kelly, if you love Michael Jackson and you believe all that stuff about him and, like, what do you do? Do you separate the music from the man or do you just stop playing it, like, as a protest? Like, I don't know.
I mean, I think with guys like Woody Allen and R. Kelly, the thing for me is that they fucked around with kids and shit.
Well, Michael Jackson, too.
Allegedly, never proven.
Well, there was that documentary that came out after his death.
The guy who fucked Britney Spears and broke up Justin Bieber. So the guy who fucked Britney Spears and broke up the Justin Timberlake, the guy who is responsible literally for Cry Me a River, who has a history of lying, made a documentary, and everybody, like, I'm not gonna say Michael Jackson didn't do it. I'm going to say that guy is full of shit a lot in history, and so because he did it doesn't actually add credibility to the current story. I think more people should have looked into who made the documentary before judging Michael. I never watched it. I never will. I think it's propaganda. Yeah. I couldn't care less. Guy's dead. It's over. But should it come out that he diddled kids, I think that it would be really easy for me to continue to not listen to his music because I'll be honest with you, I just don't even listen to Michael Jackson's music today. But on an ethical level, I mean, R. Kelly's actively being a shithead and didn't learn better kind of thing, Yeah. You never saw the remorse. Like, there's so many ways to look at this, and I know this isn't really the point of a Kid Rock album review, but it is. Like, I don't think Kid Rock is anywhere on that spectrum so far past it to the point where all of his art becomes invalidated the way some of the more heinous creatures of history are.
Yeah.
At worst, he's a culture vulture with a bit of, like, modern racist tendencies. Okay, I'm a white dude and I say some ignorant shit a lot. I'm not going to judge him for that. I will not necessarily support him. I don't know, as a man.
I think that, again, this is based off of, like, my, what I've seen and my experiences growing up. And, like, if he had been a racist, if he'd been brought up that way, because unfortunately, that's how a lot of people in, rural areas are brought up.
It's called the country, yo.
Yeah, like the countries. Like, a lot of people, just aren't exposed to other cultures and just think the worst and just base things off of TV. Obviously not necessarily so much like the next generation, the younger people, but, a lot of the older people still have, a lot of racism in their values and kind of pass that on.
Yes,
so
kid.
But obviously he grew up in that kind of place and trailer park and wasn't so well off and and same sort of situation, but hopefully him going to Hollywood and his fame and everything and him being able to tour the world opened his eyes.
But even before then, right, he was with a black girl, had a half black kid. Yep. Took another she had a kid with another guy, raised that kid. He may have used the flag at one point, but then again, so did Andre 3000 in the Miss Jackson video, because in the late 90s and shit, I guess people thought the flag was cool, or Southern or something, or very country. and it wasn't until later on that people really were upset about it. So I think that Kid Rock is and here's the thing, if y'all in the comments can give me really great evidences that he is like empirically a racist and fuck this guy, I'm super like happy and open-minded enough to like reconsider it all. But I haven't seen enough to go fuck this guy enough not to talk about his album. Alright, I guess that's where I'm at with him. And I haven't listened to his new music, so I don't know that he abandoned hip-hop. I know that a lot of his country singles really don't interest me as a human.
Yeah, I don't know what the last new song of his that I've heard, but it's been a while.
All I know is that in that freaking Leonard Skinner cover, he like rhymed words with themselves. It was like the laziest rhyme I'd ever heard.
Yeah,
and
sometimes
I'm like,
his rhyme
come on,
skills
Kid
aren't.
Rock, you're supposed to be a rapper. Or maybe I was just wrong. Maybe he was always a country star. But back then he used really... Anyway, let's get into it because I could go on all day about this. Title is called Devil Without a Cause.
Yeah.
I did not understand that title when I was young. I feel like I'm going to hold off on discussing the title until we get to the track because it's kind of relevant. All of my feelings. They didn't make the title when I first, at this point before I got to the track, I was like, yeah, he's a rowdy country boy. But then you realize what the title means. And I'm like, oh, so yeah, you are a rowdy country boy, but it's also a little shots fired. So we'll get to that later on.
Yeah. And this came out, I don't think I mentioned it, August 18th, 1998. So really like a good timing because it sets it off for, you know, kind of like the end of summers for like the, you know, any parties or whatever. And also like right before going back to school. So that, you know, all the kids will be like playing it and listening to it and sharing it and whatever else. So, I mean, it was a good move on his part, which is interesting. I wanted to bring that up because, I mean, I graduated high school in 2005. You did as well. And like we were listening to it in like 2004, 2005, and it only came out in 1998.
I would say that it's because he was such a relevant star. But I wasn't listening to the whole album. I was listening to
Bawtidaba, Cowboy,
American Badass,
and
Forever,
God Only Knows.
Cocky. Like there was a slew.
Off of this album.
Off of this album. No. I'm saying like there was a slew of Kid Rock bangers.
Yeah.
And in 2004, we would have listened to more of the greatest hits catalog rather than the whole album. Is what I'm saying.
I guess so. Yeah.
Because like when you asked earlier, and I don't think I answered it when I started listening to Kid Rock, I just have vivid. You guys may have seen him because he's been on the channel. As Mike Sincidas has been here a couple of times. Little Greek dudes. He's very small. You don't know him.
He's very small. Put him in my pocket.
But he was he's the guy who introduced me to Kid Rock, and I just have vivid memories of like American Badass and walking at grade 6 in elementary school. And then I had to look up when that came out because I thought it was on this album. It came out later. It was on an album after this. Like it was like the individual thing for like a greatest hits album or something. Anyway, so like he just had this energy that I think captured wrestling obsessed prepubescent boys as well. And that's when Kid Rock really had a lot of us too. So he really tapped into it. Like back when you were listening to the Offspring's Americana, you also had some Kid Rock on there to throw in with your Linkin Park and Slipknot.
Yeah, makes sense.
And then a couple years later, it was the Used and My Chemical Romance as we got into Heartbreak with Ladies.
Thank God I skipped that.
Anyway, so for the cover of this project, you got him all redded out like he's at a red light district.
It made me think of, you know, kind of like the devil.
Blunt. He's a little devilish. Kid Rock looks like he's about to
with
pimp.
His little fedora.
He's going to pimp some hoes right here.
And his little braided hairdo.
That's what's up. I mean...
And some cultural appropriation, probably.
I don't know that I like the cover per se, but I've seen it for like 20 years. So it's kind of just like a thing that represents these songs and has no real... It's a very neutral cover to me.
And he's smoking his cigar and he's like trying to be like a badass pimp, you know, he's kind of like that.
That's what it is.
And I don't know. I mean, I guess it looks like he's standing in front of like a venue that he's playing at because his name looks like it's on like the marquee. You know, it kind of looks like that behind him. So, I don't know. It's all right. I mean, it's a fine cover, but I mean, obviously it stands out. Again, same thing. Like it means something to me because I've been seeing it for, you know, 20 years, but not that long. Yeah, that's it.
All right, we're gonna get into it, and we're gonna start off with Bawtidaba.
Yeah.
So I was really thinking about it this week as I was listening to this Kid Rock album, and I was going, Bawtidaba may be one of the best album openers.
So good.
Like, it might hit my top 10 best album openers I ever heard. Because when you hear the song, like, you don't necessarily think about it in the context of starting an album. And then you hear it, and I was looking, it is 1 minute and 16 seconds or so before that drum kit kicks in, right?
Yep.
So you just have just that, like, just you know
Just
what
that
it is.
energy building.
Now, what you don't know when you're a young ass white boy from the city or from the country, I
Or
suppose,
girl, yeah.
is that this is actually from Busy Bee versus Cool Modi's, basically it's from some old school rap shit. Anyway, so that's cool. It's like really shouting back to so making cash money from Busy Bee. So as I believe the track, that's what Genius told me. So it's basically like shouting out to a 1982 hip hop track. And so at like a political level, I think it's such an interesting choice.
We should listen to them.
I don't know that I want to review a 1982 hip hop album, to be honest. I mean, maybe.
Right. It's gotta happen. We need to know.
Maybe.
What inspired this
Let's
beautiful
get through
song.
all of the great shit from like 86 to 2020 first, and then we can tell me about 82. I'm just not that into the older music in general across all genres, as she can attest to. Like, beyond like 87, it starts getting like not as good for me. Not to say I can't appreciate it.
Only since you were born and onwards.
That's right. I'm an egotist. What the fuck can I say? So anyway, it builds up, and it's got this like, and I imagine Kid Rock is facing some level of criticisms at this point, given the title of this album. So the fact that he comes in with this hard rock, nu metal as fuck sounding shit that's basically citing classic hip hop in as like a source to just come through. It's so interesting, right? Like, it's such an it's almost a troll, and it's well done. Anyway, so as it's just building that thing, you get the classic, "My name is Kid," and then like, you can hold it. I don't know, but like, he just keeps running it, and like, I could do it, but it would be obnoxious for you to listen to me say that for a while.
We're not professional.
And then
I'm not.
he just jumps through, and then the whole song just starts. You can just picture the fireworks. You can just picture it, right? And then everybody just starts doing
go to like a Kid Rock concert in like
the
the middle
nu
of the
metal
summer,
jump
like an
dance
outdoor
thing,
concert.
where like it's kind of hip hoppy meets moshy, where it's like.
Now
and you have like
that may be a mosh. You may find me in. If
But
ever there
anyway,
was a mosh that I would be in.
Anyway, so he has like the nu metal dance is how I'm picturing it, and then I don't know, the song flows through, and I'm gonna talk for a minute, but I just had to express how like epic this is. Now, I'm sorry, but if I'm getting married, I want to come down the aisle to something like this. Like, fucking hero coming to, like, do the marriage thing, right? Bow! It's a bow! Like, just fucking mosh my way down. That sounds way better than, like, the fucking organ
if you're
ass.
Kid Rock, then you'd be like, "My name is," and like you just.
Well, I would change it to, "My name is Ha." I think I wouldn't. Of course I would.
Yeah, okay.
I talk at a camera like this.
Yeah.
I'm clearly into that type of life, we'll
Okay.
call it. I
All
mean,
right.
don't get me wrong. If I had the ability to wear the shiny shit like that, I'm working towards getting the flatter body so that I can bounce around on a stage with no shirt on like Kid. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, how do you feel about this track?
No, finish up.
I mean, then the song starts. This is for the questions that don't have any answer. What questions? It's very vague. He does not give any details. The midnight glancers and the topless dancers.
That's right.
None of that is questions, but I guess it's this context he's painting towards his world and his life. All right.
Yeah.
The can of freaks, cars parked with speakers, the G's in the 40s, and the chicks with beepers.
That's right, because it's
None
the
of-
90s.
None of this has any questions with an answer. Apparently, it's don't have any answers. This is where the questions don't have any answers. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I just don't get it. Like,
What do you mean? Sometimes you ask questions and there's just no answer to it. You can't give an answer. There's nothing that's good enough.
But none of this is it's just
It doesn't matter that these aren't questions. He's just saying this is what this is for, and then he continues telling you what else is going on.
yeah.
There's no connection to this on the first line.
There's just none. It's just
No,
random.
that's right. Correct.
And then the northern lights and the southern comforts, and it don't even matter if your veins are punctured. Fair enough. I'll give it to
So
him.
alcohol and needles. I like that.
You get put out into this situation, and you can argue northern lights is weed. So weed, southern comfort, and then adding in some shit like that. I know northern lights existed back then as a strain. Although it's still a strain today. It's one of those ones that survived decades. And I like the fact that he also throws in crackheads and everybody, and then like the methadone clinics. Like, he is flat out like for the degenerate drug users. And I'm not saying this with any kind of judgment or anything. I'm just saying like what my whole point is, it's just so fucking random, this verse. And I think that was part of always like.
But I think he's also saying like what he sees. Like, that's like, you know, maybe he just is surrounded by a lot of drug addicts, and that's just his experience.
Fair
and
enough.
Like, drugs are just normal for him, and
It
like
just
methadone clinics.
feels
and, like,
so
all that.
profound, and it feels so anthemic, and it totally feels like I might not be the direct target for who he's coming for in this anthemic feel of it. And I'm not even like saying anything like I don't think this song is quite epic or enjoyable, right? Because it's got this swag to the way he delivers every single lyric. It's just, I don't think I ever really paid attention to what the fuck he said on any of his tracks like before this. Like, I never cared what the verses to Bawtidaba were. You didn't need that. You were too busy jumping up and down and freaking the fuck out about the crazy vibe to it. And then the verse would kick in and you'd be like, okay, this is for the topless dancer. You know, just words would like kind of poke in through here and there. And you're like, okay. Don't get me wrong. This song is like incredible. Like, I would absolutely call this an essential for a good time. Like, I don't know a lot of people.
This has been on like my probably my very first MP3 player. It's been on mixed CDs that I've made. It was already hearted. I already like this song. I already listened to it. It's already on like my main playlists on Spotify. So this is just like it's just a song that's a part of my life.
I completely get that. I mean, as the verses go on, it does paint a context, and I guess in that sense, I just didn't like the first lyric. Okay, it was just the first lyric, and then how the rest of it is just a series of statements related to the context he sees and the degenerate world that he's in, and it flows through. You know, the bastards at the IRS, the crooked crops and the cluttered desks, shots at Jack and the caps of meth. You know, and I feel like there is a shit ton of people who can relate to this directly. Like, he is basically anthemically shutting out a group of people that are typically shamed all the time.
Yeah.
I don't want to come off too political, but I do think Donald Trump went after the exact same market and won. All the hookers that are tricking out in Hollywood and from my hoods of the world so maybe Donald Trump went after Kid Rock and his people. Like, he just baited them as opposed to the other way around.
I mean, Michigan was a big important state, right?
I said it's all good and it's all fun. Now get in the pit and try to love someone, and then like just the way it just like, and then it just breaks in and it's like fucking explodes. Second verse is fine. He just kind of, I guess, drops more references and whatnot, and it's like, it's one of those tracks where, I guess as you were describing it, it's kind of the point. It's not really about thinking. It's not really about philosophizing about.
Nope, he's not trying to say anything profound here.
It's really just that energy. It's about mashing about and just
not
rapping
giving a fuck.
it.
Yeah.
And I like it a lot. I think the energy truly is dope. I think this song was built for a WWF, not yet E, introduction for any good wrestler. I don't know if anybody used it, but it's pretty dope. And it's just amazing seeing Uncle Cracker in the written by credits of all the songs, because it's like, I forgot about Uncle Cracker.
And I think he produced some of them too, right?
This one was produced by John Travis and Kid Rock, and it seemed like the whole album had those two as the production credits, although I'm not 1,000% sure. The music video for this is fine. It's Kid Rock being Kid Rock with no shirt on in a lot of places. I understand who he was going for. This all makes sense when you look at it. This guy actually had chicks show up to his show, unlike a lot of people. Like, there are people who it's straight dudes for days in the crowd.
And like since day one, since I saw what he looked like, I was like, is he hot? Like, is he dirty hot?
Yeah.
I mean, like,
He's trashy.
Like, he's like trashy hot, and like, not the kind of guys I would necessarily be interested in. But I mean, I suppose he's attractive for, you know, drunk country girls. So yeah.
But anyway, it's just the overall power of this beat, like just the way it slams, it just feels like new metal-y, it feels hip-hop, it feels all the good things 12, 13-year-old me could ever want out of life rolled into one track. And telling you, listening to half that song, maybe I didn't know about the drugs, but a lot of Kid Rock's life is really interesting to a 13-year-old boy when you listen to that stuff. So I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
5 on 5. This song's a banger.
Absolutely. So, yeah, I mean, I've been listening to this song, you know, like I said, for many years, since at least 2003 or 2004, something like that. And like, I love it. I didn't need to look at the lyrics. I know all of the lyrics. Maybe unlike you, who doesn't like. I know like all like the verses. Like I know everything. And so yeah, I mean, this was really pretty easy for me. This is just like you were saying, just an incredible introduction. It's so good.
So, Bonnie's review. I know it better than you. I'm not gonna give insight, except to say I know the song better than you.
Yeah.
I'm a part of this.
Finally, I've got one that I know. Yeah, but it's just so good. So we have like just an incredible intro, just like what you were saying. Like it's like, I mean, I've never listened to like the album as like a whole. So but like, you know, singularly it's great. And then when you listen to it like as like the start of the album, you're like, holy shit. Like so good. Like it's just, you know, you kind of know if this is the beginning, like you're gonna get awesomeness on this album for sure. Yeah, and it's just so fierce. It's wild. It brings so much power and energy and wildness to it. I love it so much. I love like the bass that's behind it. It's just so perfect. Like this is a perfect song. You know, I may be biased, but you know, but I definitely love it. And like I cannot not scream this song out when I hear it, like the, you know, white redneck girl that I am. And yeah, it's definitely has like enough like aggressiveness to it, and kind of like that rebel yell to it, and it makes you like rock out. I love like the way that it's mixed, like the overall like sound of it. Like it has, you know, band instruments, like, you know, it's got the guitar, it's got the drums, like it has that kind of band feeling, while at the same time you're kind of getting like the scratching, like the, like, you know, kind of some of like the DJing kind of feel, but you're also getting like these interesting mixes and like the beat. So you're getting like layers of like different sounds and different creativeness in it, and I think that that's really, really cool. And like sort of like the digitalizing of like certain parts of like his vocals, the way that he says things, like it's just really interesting. Like there's a lot going on in this song if you listen to it and like, you know, pick out every part of it that's of what's going on. So I think it's really cool, and I think it's really just like the best blend of like country, rap, and rock, like all into like one sort of like new creation. Like there wasn't really anything else that sounded like this. You know, and I don't know if there necessarily ever will be, you know, like Kid Rock is definitely like his own kind of guy, and I think that he's a lot of fun. I really just can't give this song enough hype.
While I was reading this album was definitely cited as being the inception of modern country rap. So there's got to be shit that sounds exactly like Kid Rock right now.
Yeah, maybe I just don't know, and maybe he's just like the best. But like, this is like a perfect song. Like from the first note until the last note, like the whole thing is like beautiful. I love it.
It really is. Like it's one of those songs where, like, while at first glance the lyrics or whatever, I mean, that one line kind of didn't sit right with me, but the more you think about it, the more you look at the vibe, the more you picture like where he comes from, the world that he's in, it really is an anthem. And it's an anthem. It's just also the live show's nuts. Like all of this song hits every element.
Yeah, this is absolutely like a 5 on 5. Like if you didn't know what you were going to get, he's basically like, well, here the fuck it is, and you better be ready for it. Like, he just doesn't hold back. I love this song. So
almost like you could say he's a cowboy. So when we started doing this channel, a lot of people accused me and my grandiose, arrogant ass, because back then I was a little arrogant, of like, not knowing what I was talking about and insinuating I should stay in my own lane and talk about country music.
That's right.
To which I'm like, wait, what? Allow me to be real clear. If y'all think that I pissed off anybody talking about hip-hop ignorantly, the country people would pull guns on me for how fucking bad I would talk about country music. Because I am a city boy, born and raised in Montreal, which is kind of like saying I'm born and raised in New York or somewhere like that.
Not that far from New York, so yeah.
Pretty close to New York.
Not as,
what I'm trying to say is, when it comes to country, it's like none of it, man. I don't know any of the hits. I know Shania Twain because she's Canadian.
Woo!
And I understand her to be like a pop star in country, not so much a country star.
Have your boots been under?
So like, I look at it like, I don't know anything about country, but you know what? I just don't really like country much. Country is one of the slowest musics ever to me. It's just this slowy, twangy, and yeah, there are upbeat country tunes. They're still kind of slow to me. They're still tapping into chord patterns and progressions I'm super not into. And all that to say, I admire what this song is artistically. Like, I really, really think it's an impressive track that comes with this really great, like, as Kid Rock wanted to, Leonard Skinner meets Run DMC is what he was going for, and I like the Run DMC side. I appreciate what he does with this shit, but man, the beat is just not good to my ears. So I appreciate that it's actually well made. So I don't want to insult but gosh, it's just so fucking bad to me to listen to this. And then he's like, well, I'm packing up my gain and not my head out west. Real women come equipped with scripts and fake. And I'm like, fair enough. Find a nest in the hills, chill like Flint. Fair enough, because he's going to go live like he is there, down there. That's cool. I mean, now that I know what Flint is, right? Because I didn't know what Flint was until the water situation.
Yeah, I think that's when everybody heard about it.
And then, buy an old drop top, fine to spot to pimp, and I'm a Kid Rock it up and down your block.
With the bottle of scotch and scotch.
Yeah, so anyway, Bonnie's been doing that. It's just, so it's all good. He's kind of painting out his desire to basically, from what I'm taking from this, is, I guess Detroit's been fun. This whole life's been fun. I'm going to go be a cowboy and then go do that. So, really, I just had one question, though. He goes, in all seriousness, and goes, start an escort service for all the right reasons. And I'm like, what are the wrong reasons? Like, what are the reasons here in question?
So, I can tell you both. Which one do you want to know? The wrong reasons or the right reasons?
What are the right reasons for escorting?
Well, the right reasons, I'm just putting myself in Kid Rock's shoes here. In his, the girls, definitely the free sex and or blowjobs and all of that kind of stuff.
But do you fuck your hoes if you're a pimp?
Yeah. I'm going to say yes.
But they're fucking all the dudes.
Well, you save the good ones for yourself.
But then they're not, like...
I don't know. I'm just saying free sex. Probably.
I thought that...
Money.
See, I would take it like the right reason is not the sex. Because that's
the glory of being a pimp-ass bitch.
Because, like, that's like tapping into your own supply, right? Like, and you're not supposed to get high on your own supply.
I feel like pimps probably definitely, like, have sex with girls willingly or not.
I mean, yeah. I'm not saying that, like, you wouldn't do it, but like I'm saying that...
power that it kind of gives you...
I just get the feeling that...
you get from it, I guess.
Like, what are the right and wrong reasons?
The wrong reasons are all of the bad things. the jail, the illegalness of it.
Nobody starts an escort service to go to jail. That's not anybody's goal. That's not a reason to start an escort service.
You can go to jail much quicker if you need to.
So what I'm saying is, what are the wrong reasons? Like, is like a wrong reason like to start an escort service to trap men and extort them? Like, I don't know what these all sound like good reasons in the right context. I can think of lots of good reasons to start. Because honestly, prostitution should just be damn well legalized, and like it's whack that it's criminalized, and like
let those girls pay their taxes.
And let them get like registration numbers to be escorts, and then protect it all.
Nice brothels.
And here's what's up. Unfortunately, pimping has a lot of aspects to it that I'm not comfortable with as a
pimping
as a person.
Is more like when I think of pimping, I think of like.
But let's say escort
a girl being like a little bit more controlled.
Let's say escort management would be like a better, because if you're gonna call it escort management and treat the girls like employees, I'm more okay with that level of pimping. But then again, y'all might be looking at me and going, Holden, you'd make a terrible pimp, and I'd say, how the fuck would you know if I make a good pimp or not? Obviously I'm not gonna say shit like that on camera in front of my girlfriend. Come on, people.
Okay.
I just wanted to bring them in and twist with it. But like, here's the thing, it's just, what are the wrong reasons? I would just like to know. That's what I'm trying to say.
When you get the handcuffs on you, not in a sexy way, then that's probably the wrong reason, whatever you were doing.
No, but that's the consequence. That's not why you start doing something. That's the consequences of it. Nobody starts doing something for the bad consequences that come from it. Like, nobody becomes a drug addict. All
right. Yeah, we get it.
Anyway, and then, chorus. And then next verse, and I'm like, it's fine. There's nothing else in here for me, really. It's like, I do like when he's like, seen a slimmy in a vet, rolled down my glass and said, yeah, this dick fits right in your ass. No kidding. Gunslinging and spurs hitting the floor. Call me Haas on the boss, but the sauce is in the horse. I enjoy it because he's got that energy of it. It feels like DX era WWF rolled into a song. My only words of women are just suck my dick, I'm flicking my bick up and down the coast, keep on trucking to that fond ocean, cause I'm a cowboy, whatever. I understand that this song is good, but I don't like it, so I give it a 4.15.
My heart, my soul. So, I mean, basically the same as the previous song applies to this one. I've been listening to this one just as long, and I feel just as passionately as on this one as I do. Again, this one was also plays into my teenage years by being featured in one of my favorite and pretty popular, I'm guessing, teenage girl chick flick movies, Coyote Ugly. It's in that, and all the girls we were all dressing like hoes, pretending like we could dance around on bars like that, and what girl hasn't tried to do that? Or I don't know, at least I have. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, it's just like wild, and again, I know like all of the lyrics pretty much, so yeah, I mean, this is and I think that's also like one of like the something that plays into this song being a hit is that people are able to sing along to it. They know the lyrics. They're not complicated lyrics. They're easy enough for people to say. White people can relate to them. We know we can. It's like, this is our chance to rap because we can keep up with this white boy. And like, I don't know if that's necessarily true, but I feel like that's kind of part of it. And like,
maybe country people relate to it because of the countryside of it.
Yeah, but they relate to him.
But I don't think it's white people going, oh, I can keep up.
Well, not quite like that, but like I know guys that look just like him. To this day, still have that long, greasy, blonde hair, skinny ass white guys, wear their jeans low with a, wife beater tank top like that, Yeah, I just know guys that look like that. And I mean, that's why like they relate, So anyways, and like the music video, it's sort of like just him being rowdy and like a little bit kind of playing into like Dukes of Hazzard kind of scenarios. Like there's like some trouble brewing and, there's like a cop car chase. and in like a Trans Am. So it definitely made me think of like, the good old Duke brothers. So that's what kind of, again, pulling into that country, people who love Dukes of Hazzard. I mean, then that was like a hit at that time. There was like that redo with Jessica Simpson or whatever. So yeah, there's that. So yeah, and I like that there's sort of like this sort of wild western kind of country feeling to it as well. I like that. It just kind of feels fun. And like he's just so cocky and he like doesn't give a fuck, and like he knows he gets the ladies, and this is for that, and he's just loving like this badass pimpin' redneck life in the city, and he's bringing it, and he's bringing country to the city, and he's a cowboy baby, and he's kind of like, he definitely stands out as being different in probably, Hollywood. But, I mean, there's lots of weirdos in Hollywood. So everybody stands out there. But he definitely probably stands out a little bit more, maybe. He kind of, talks about that he's, tries to stay away from the cops. That, so he's obviously up to no good. He's doing something if he's trying to hide. And also, this also plays into like something that I love, is that sort of like halfway through or like 2/3 through the song, there's like a mini kick-ass drum solo, which definitely like I can't not do the air drums when I'm listening to it. Like I just love it so much, and like I've always kind of had like a desire to be a drummer, so there's that. So like that's just like so much fun. I love this whole beat. Yeah, it's just, I love everything about this one. It's so hype. It has such energy. It's like wild sounding, and yeah, and he's just like a Hollywood cowboy, and that's sort of like, we're gonna talk about it, on the next song, but like just kind of like James Dean was in The Devil Without a Cause, so which was the movie that he was in, in like the 50s, and obviously was, or may have been the inspiration for the album name or whatever. But anyways, I'm loving it. Love it, love. It's fantastic. It's so good. 5 on 5.
All right. Well, why don't we talk about the title track, Devil Without a Cause? So, back in the day, I didn't know what a Nation of Islam was.
Yeah.
Right? That was not things I understood. Words like 5%er didn't mean anything to me. So I'm sitting here listening, and you hear him coming through. You knew that I was coming because you heard my name, but you don't know my game. You never felt my pain. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm like Cowboy. This taps right back into like young me, new metal grandiosity, that epic build up. Like, this is way more my cup of tea. You can't read my brain, but you read my lips, and got scared when you heard I was coming with hits. In a sense, it's pretty hip-hop at this point.
Yep.
Y'all are jealous of my talents, and I am here coming through. You fear me, the MC. That's typical shit. It's all good. Don't even trip, but a man instead give thanks to my life when I should be dead. I'm like, weird twist on it. People are mad at him, and he's going, y'all should be thankful I made it out, and I'm okay.
Yep.
To which, fair enough. That actually is a really good point. We are obsessed with being jealous and hating towards people who are more successful than us. The toxicity of modern day Twitter is proof to the pudding in that situation. I'm in the red because my mind's distorting. People claiming that they know me, but they only know portion. Fair enough. He's going to go on through, and he's like fucking coming, and fuck all the people that didn't believe in him. Like some uncut dope motherfucker. Kid Rock's to blame. Same game, same name. Ain't a damn thing changed. And you know what? Considering the last 2 albums we listened to, because we did listen, this is pretty similar to early Morning Stone Pimpin' sound. It is a little more pop and mastered. You can absolutely tell major label studio engineers mastered this shit. Yeah. I'm talking mastering. We're not at the mix level. This shit is coming off fucking. Somebody put some money behind this. Fair enough. So, no sellout. I ain't no hoe. Fuck the radio. Like, look, I'm not going to call him a sellout. I'm absolutely going to call him a radio hoe. Kid Rock is a radio hoe as far as I'm concerned. This is funny to me. It is hilarious because he might be coming from that ROMEO, but he turned into some shit that my parents were listening to Kid Rock on the radio in the car. Like, that's how radio he got.
Yep.
He clearly wanted to be on radio a couple of albums later. I'm not hating him for it. I'm not even saying that makes him a sellout. I'm saying that the fuck
Sometimes
the
it's,
radio
you
is
know.
kind of a funny line. Anyway, watch me throw like a fist of rage. Self-made and paid, sawed off 12 gauges, whatever. I like how he brings up the Great Lakes because it's true. Detroit and Canada share that.
Yep.
He's got 7 years experience. He's cool. Be cool, keep pinking, don't sleep, we'll roll deep into Lincoln. Listen, I had a Lincoln Town Car, and it basically got me laid when I shouldn't have been getting laid. So I respect the pimping power. My mom called it the Pimp Mobile. That's the power of a Lincoln. Anyways, flowing on a little bit, and what the fuck's going on in the D? Bunch of white boys pimping like the KID, and it's all good. I got love from my honkies. And at first I was like, he said honky. Nobody says honky. I like the word honky because it's so ridiculous. We were all thick, kick ass like donkeys. That's a not great line, Kid Rock. Kick ass like donkeys.
Well, because they kick, but they're like an ass.
It's like if it's like if I had a nephew who was 5 and he wrote a bar, that would be the bar.
Like, I'm not saying this guy has like a fucking PhD or anything.
Anybody fucks with you, I'm gonna mack them. Devil without a cause. And I'm like, oh shit, he means it like that. He means white devil without a cause. Like, he is taking on that James Dean rebel without a cause mentality, but he's a white boy in hip-hop, so he's a devil. So he's a devil without a cause. Now, I didn't notice that until he dropped
you mean like, okay.
Like a 5%er Nation of Islam devil, because he's obviously getting criticized for cultural appropriations and shits and whatever, right? The reason I believe he at this point in his career is being attacked by 5%ers and people who are like, look at this devil coming into our culture, look at this devil, because that would be the condemnation.
Okay.
So he's owning it. And look at that whole verse, like the way it starts up, like y'all are afraid of this devil, because this is before Eminem. Eminem hasn't come through.
Right.
Eminem hasn't popped the Pandora's box of white MCs. You think I'd be here if it wasn't for Kid Rock and Eminem? Of course not.
Yep.
And that's true. There'd be no behind that suit if it wasn't for Kid Rock and Eminem showing me white boys can rhyme. Detroit did a lot for white boys learning how to rhyme, you'd say. ICP.
There you go.
So all I'm trying to say is he comes through and he drops that, and I'm like, that's like a fucking troll. That's kind of what it is. But it's also like owning the criticism and being like, I hear what you're saying to me and I hear what you're going to say. And in spite of that, even though I don't rap whatever, I'm without a cause, whatever, I'm going diamond is what it should be fucking saying. What a prophetic man. So many people talk about how they're going to do well on albums.
Yep.
So many people make statements. He said, I'm going platinum and 11 times it. I mean... Fucking Kid Rock, hey?
Yeah.
Anybody can say whatever about anything. On your fuck you song, if you're gonna say I'm going platinum, you certainly have to go platinum in order to pull it off.
Yep.
And I mean...
Like, that's not necessarily... That's not an easy thing to do.
Even when selling albums was still a move, it was still hard to go diamond. So, very, like, when you think about it, strong in hindsight. That is a lyric that aged pretty fucking well. Second verse, whatever, he's now basically upgraded his life. He went from getting cheap sex to getting much respect from top record execs, which is kind of an interesting point. He makes them a lot of money, and so now everything in his life is fancier. He gets better hoes. One of my favorite lines is, used to call me funny when my nose was fucking runny. Now my fucking bunny's getting fucking Matchbox 20 money. Yeah. When he does this fucking bar scheme, which he does a couple of times, it's so petulant, but the way he does it works really well.
And I think it's pretty funny because, I mean, Matchbox 20 was, like, pretty blowing up, like, around this time, too. And, yeah, I mean, they were definitely making money. So he's, like, saying, you know, I'm going to make it just like that.
And I think it was more to the point where
they were more like boys next door, kind of, a little bit.
I don't remember. I don't even remember what they wrote. I can't, like, anything.
Rob Thomas.
I can't remember anything he wrote. Unwell? Did they do Unwell? I'm
Yeah.
not crazy. I'm just a...
Mama,
we
yeah.
can't sing it. We'll get clipped on copyright because it's
Okay.
not So Matchbox 20 as Unwell is a really cheesy 90s tune, and it effectively
Bright
taps
Lights
into
was like my
nostalgia.
favorite one of theirs.
And therefore, that melody is an earworm that gets stuck in your head. I have reviewed it. It is not copyright infringement anymore. It's true. By saying that, you dodge copyright. Learning about copyright law with Holden in the middle of a Kid Rock album review. I feel like it's cool when he kind of just kind of flows out like this grandiosity. It's just like all this is dick wagging. This song is dick wagging in the second verse. I mean, and it's fun. It's almost like I made it. You know.
Yep.
I got to where I gotta be, and it's really it's just what it is. You just picture him with his jacuzzis and his high class horrors instead of cheap horrors, and just everything. Like he went from being the early morning stone pimp to like the really high class top end escort pimp.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden Joe C comes through, and here's the thing, man. I have heard so many people quote this verse in my life.
It's definitely like if you have zero context, it definitely sounds like a child is singing about drugs and his dick, and you're like, what the fuck? How old is this kid?
And then you have like people like, I don't know, when you're 12 like I am when this shit's dropping, it's just whatever. I mean, every line, call me Joe C, got more game than Calico. I mean, I don't even know what a Calico was back then. Still fucking a bar I've heard a gajillion times in elementary and high school. I'm a freako, call me sick, 3'9" with a 10-foot dick.
And like the call me sick part, I think is like, yeah, he's like, whoa, he's sick, but like he's also genuinely sick. Like he was very sick. Like he had to take something like 42 pills a day or something like that. It was something ridiculous to like stay alive.
Can we just say rest in peace to Josie?
Absolutely.
Anyway, and then, you know, the ladies pick, I'm a crazy hick and rake through kind like a bum through wine, which is a good line because he's basically a rake is a guy who fucks mad hoes. Kind of like
But he was like 17, 18 when he wrote this song. Or when he was, you know, sang on this song or whatever.
He was an adult. He was just like with Kid Rock at this point. I don't remember how they came to be friends and all that. I'm certain there's
or
a
maybe
whole
he
story.
was a little bit older. Maybe he was like 20.
Like he was like touring on stage with Kid Rock, and he was part of like the whole thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's my time, so I'm gonna shine like glass. Old as piss, but small as ass. Watch me cash, smoke some hash. You're raking grass while I'm raking cash. High as voice, just like Aaron Neville, and I'm down with the devil. And I'm like, all right, the honky, fair enough. And then we like to rock the party, but whatever. And then it just ends, and it's just like, look, it's one of those times somebody just balls to the walls, believed in themselves with absolute faith, and the end result was 11 times platinum. I mean, I don't know how to refute that. I think this song's pretty strong. I can't stand Josie's high-pitched voice, but the charm of what it brings, the everything, it really is this big fuck you to his haters.
Yeah.
While doubling down on who he is, while simultaneously capturing an entire new audience. Like, it's like, fuck you. You trying to keep me out the house? I'm a devil without a cause. And then you fucking do it anyways.
Yeah.
And go on to release a lot of music I proceeded to not like later on. But this is really good, and I give this a 4.5.
Nice. Yeah. It kind of starts off like churchy and kind of like gospel-y a little bit. And like this one is basically just about who Kid Rock is and kind of what he's all about. And, you know, he's chill and he's pimping and, you know, people are acting like him. He's seeing that and like, you know, he's, you know, blowing up on the charts and, you know, which is true and like, you know, was true. And I think, you know, he talks about, I don't think he mentions it on this song. The fact that, anyways, I'll talk about it later on the song that it's on. But anyways, so he was like a trailer park guy, and you know now he's just like he blew up. He's incredibly successful, and he's still going to be himself. He hasn't changed. He's, you know, he's just as like, you know, trailer trash as, you know, he ever was. And he's like, fuck you if you don't give a shit. If you don't like it, like, you know, whatever. He's not about that. And, you know, he's, you know, this is his dream. And, you know, he did this on his own. And, you know, he made it come true. And, like, you know, he's kind of like yeah, like kind of like saying like, screw you, like this is like what I did for myself and how I like, took care of business, and too bad for you. And so like the beat is more rock on this one, a little bit more. It's a little less intense than the previous two, but still good. And it, I think it still certainly has.
Everything is more intense than Cowboy.
No. But like it still has like that kind of like beat that's gonna like rile up guys, and get them going. And yeah, I mean Josie on like the last verse, I mean he's, like I said, it just sounds like a child is singing, and it's just, but he's got like, funny rhymes and stuff like that, and he's just like the hype man. You know who he is and what he is like right away. You're like, okay, he's just kind of there to kind of like be like, yeah, he's the best, and I've got a big old dick, and it's just funny, and rest in peace. And yeah, for me, just not as exciting as the other two. I give this one a 4.35 on 5.
All right, so next up on this project is the first appearance of the track I Am the Bullgod. All right, Bonnie, tell us how you feel about the Bullgod.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have so much to say on this one. Apparently this is like a tribute song to Monster Magnet, who I have no idea who that is. Let me know if you guys do. This one definitely sounds more rock. I don't know, some of the lyrics are sort of funny. So I ask no questions and I tell no lies. I got big old pupils with bloodshot eyes. Always on all the drugs. And I'm on the brink, if you know what I mean. And the 12-step program couldn't keep me clean, because I'm the bull god, you understand, the illegitimate son of man, the T-O-P to the D-O-G, or the P-O-T to the G-O-D, and I'm tripping. And so it's just like kind of like that. Like there's nothing that's like, outstanding in like what he's saying, but the way he says it is like kind of fun, and like the way he makes it work, and some of the words that he uses, like the illegitimate son of man, it just sounds kind of funny. Yeah, I don't know, it's just like another one about like where he's like talking about how great he is, and he's kind of cocky, but I mean I feel like that's pretty obvious, and like he doesn't give a shit, and that's who he is.
You say he's cocky, and I say why. It ain't bragging, motherfucker, if you back it up.
Yep. It definitely has like a decent sound to it. It's, a dirty rock kind of song, and he's the bull god, and that's pretty much it. Like, it's good. It has good energy. I give this one a 4.25 on 5.
Watch the music video, and I don't know how to say this without demonetizing my video. So he's strung up on a particular substance that shares the same first letter as my name and is ingested with a pointy thing into your arm. And he's lying in the bathroom with 2 hoes.
As you do,
Because hoes I can say, and that's not as bad in the check boxes. But to describe the level of detail of his eyes, and he's just like spun out, man. He's just gone. And I'm like, that's bold, right? Like, that's why it's not like so cocky to me. It's like, that's kind of him. And then when you hear stories about drugs of Kid Rock, because obviously I got a little curious after Scribble told me they were good drug stories, and I mean, he's backing it up is all I can say. This dude went in. This was who he is. He's an over-the-life rock star.
Yep.
I mean, and we can maybe even try to judge that now, but like, everybody wanted their rock stars to do drugs until very recently, and only now with our like 2020 hindsight, get it? do we like judge drugs a lot more? But like, man, people just have the strangest understanding of music and drugs. Anyway, this is like an ode to getting fucked up. Apparently, I Am the Bullgod is written as a tribute song to Monster Magnet, his favorite group, who I've never heard of.
Oh, okay.
And the Bullgod is their like motif, their symbol that appears on a bunch of their shit. So I guess he went on tour with them, and then he came through, and you know who they are? I don't know who they are.
No, that's what I said.
So like, I've never heard of them. But it's kind of an interesting, like, to pay, like, tribute to these guys that you like at that time, and then to kind of, I guess, embody what he loves about it is what I would imagine from that. And you just get this, and it's another energy song running through. There's not a lot I can really comment on it because it's just, you can't cap when the master sons to sit your ass on the floor before I blast you one, because I'm so greasy you can call me mud, and I feel a little hank running through my bloods. I want to flood the world with my twisted thoughts. You can bid all day, but I can't be bought. I'm gonna put this in the level of it's just fine. Like, that's not what I like about Kid Rock. His bars on this album are not like necessarily so far the most profound, but the music, his delivery, the way he rides over this, and then with the I am the Bullgod, all of that, like, it just hits in such a way. It just blasts. It's just, you just picture it, you fucking feel the chantiness of it. All of it is just the right mood and the ambiance, and it flows so proper. So I kind of feel like everything but what he says is super interesting in his ode to getting completely wrecked and floating through the worlds. Like, born and raised in the outer lands, and at times you could say I'm out of hand. I'm in a band of gypsies. We're on the run every time that paper hits my tongue. So it's like, getting wrecked on acid, I guess, and floating around. It's cool in the sense that it's another fun drug anthem. It's boring in the sense that none of those lyrics are going to go down as, like, I won't remember anything in this song other than the hook. But that's so good that that's all you really need in this track. Yeah. But the beat, the way he rides it, like, again, the delivery, the whole essence, energy of the track, because there's a lot more than just the poetry that matter. Everything else makes this like a 4.5 to me. It's got such a good sound to it. I just couldn't care less about the lyrics in terms of what he's saying. And I feel like across the board on this album, I couldn't care less about what the fuck Kid Rock has to say to me. I love how Kid Rock says those shits to me.
That's cool.
Anyway, we can continue on as we are a roving gangster. Rollin. Along the way, it clicked. When you do some hard drugs, you're rolling.
Yeah.
And then along the way, you hear him proceed to do another action it's like when you fold up a money bill and then you take a flowery looking substance and perhaps it goes up the money into your body. And he does that right on the track. And then it kind of flows into the rolling and stuff. So, like, you can see him he explains why he's rolling.
Yeah.
That was my big allusion to Kid Rock doing cocaine on the middle of this track.
Yep.
What do you think of this one?
I mean, I like the beat on this one. And I feel like, okay, there's some lines on this album that are interesting. Like, form like a blister, drink like a failure, rip like a twister right through the trailer. These lines fit the Cowboy verse very well. So I feel like he does this a couple of times, like, just to take, like, bits from his, like, hit songs and kind of throw them into lesser songs, or, like, his, like the exact same, like, rhythm or beat or something is, like, on them. Like, there's something about it that, like, it definitely, like, made me think, okay, those lines could have been on Cowboy. So it's interesting that he does that. I guess sort of, like, to touch back on, like, his bigger songs, or the ones that he assumed were going to blow up, and they did. And also kind of makes me think that, like, maybe his, like, rhyme scheme is a little bit, like, limited, and his writing skills, if he's kind of, like, using, like, the same thing on, like, multiple songs.
I think that's the thing, is we heard him on the last album, in my opinion, being more versatile and interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like, this one definitely has some hits, but then, like, sort of, like, the ones that aren't hits kind of are, like you can kind of tell they aren't hits. Like, I don't know. Like, that's at least in my opinion. But, like, he has, like, an attitude, and he does whatever the fuck he wants. Again, same sort of thing. And this one definitely has, like, that 2000s, like, kind of time rock vibe. So, like, it definitely feels a little bit, like, dated. Like, it kind of makes me think of that time. And sort of, like, halfway through the song, you do hear him, like, doing what you said, sniffing the things. And, he's a wild guy, and he's like, will, stop his track to do it and prove it to you that he's doing this and that he's just as wild and doesn't give a fuck. And, which is interesting. But, Yeah, I mean, whatever. It's not bad, this one, but it's definitely not my favorite. I give this one a 4.2 on 5. Feels a little dated.
I mean, the whole album is definitely, I think, a little bit of a time capsule of the era. Like, this
Yeah.
sounds like the late 90s. This sounds like that times when a lot of genre lines were being blended, and I love that angle of it. I think this song is alive, and I like the fact that as it goes on, it kind of evolves, almost like the song in and of itself has the emotional context of his drug trip. Like, you're starting off all focused, and then you're rolling, and then you get a little higher, and then it just kind of ends up being this like repetition at the end when you're just kind of lost and you're gone on the drugs at this point. There's no verse left. You just see me rolling. You got me rolling, searching underneath the sun, and that's all you can say because you just at that point in your mind.
Yep.
So I feel like the song truly captures the essence of that and kind of runs you through it. The first verse is fine. The introduction's fine. Everything's tight from the loot to my friends. I ain't got time to tighten up loose ends. It's like some of them are just so basic. It's just so basic. Mm-hmm. Anyway, I've been that route too many times. If I ain't stabbed in the back, I ain't fighting no crime. Fair enough. Like, again, it's like it has like an integrity to him. It's not. I feel like he's consistent. I don't feel like he comes off fake. I feel like he comes off like a proper. I'm just saying. This is not like for the lyrical miracle cats. This is more of white girl in the country. That's
there you
more
go.
who it's for.
And I didn't even really like it that much, so there you go.
But anyway, I wish for that which my heart holds near, but ain't nobody playing what I'm trying to hear. I've been saying for years that the fakes wouldn't last. You were jocking to bullshit, now you look like an ass. Fair enough. Get gas in your garage of sickness as I bring a little swing into your world of stiffness, cause I got plenty of rhymes to spill, ain't got nothing more than time to kill. Form a blister, drink like a failure, rip like a twister. It's just like, it's fine. None of that's like whatever. He's coming through. He's legitimate. He's got power to him. I like when he said at 18 he had a hardcore attitude, and then follow that up. When I turned 19, I was touring with Ice Cube. It's true, I brought the old school where the rules don't bend and the beats don't end. No place to be. I gotta let those knuckles know who the fuck I be. I'm still rocking DPMC. Anyway. What he's trying to point out is, he comes from an era where he is legitimate, and if you do look at his credentials and his history, he has a lot that can back it up. Like, it's pretty, like, not everybody can be like, I turned 18 as a young white boy from Detroit and ended up touring with Ice Cube. Like, how many people can actually pull that kind of shit up? Not many. So I guess it's kind of to attack the people who are attacking him aimlessly, which seems to be a big thing on him. He's got a chip on his shoulder on this album. Anyway, in the next verse, he's dead as shit, but I ain't been killed. I kind of like that line because it's like basically he's dead inside. He's fucking wrecked. You just picture him like a high-waisted individual, but he's not been killed yet, so he keeps coming. So I'm a Mac, I'm a truck, but I'm Peterbilt. I'm a trucker, and my ego is large. I'm the K to the I, call me Sarge, and it's like whatever. The rest of the verse is fine. I don't have anything more to comment on the lyrics. He's just himself. And I feel like that's a lot of what this album's going to bring to the table.
Yeah.
And that's fine. I gave this track overall a 4.5 because, again, there's a swag to his delivery, the way he's coming through. It's everything, again, but what he says I find really interesting. I love the alive nature of the track.
All right.
That's okay. Maybe y'all can make it sound like I'm just wasting some time.
True.
How do you feel about this one?
Well, it definitely has like a catchy beat and flow. I don't know, and I don't know. This song is nice. There's like some nice lines. Like again, nothing that's genius, but just like things that flow well together. And this is just sort of like the kind of perfect song for like sitting outside. And like this summer on a nice warm day, and just like chilling and drinking beer, and like this is like trailer park music. Like this is like fun. Like you would just be rolling around, just having a nice time, doing what you do, and like it's just fun. And fuck it, I'm free to do what I please, little lady. I was born at night, but not last night, baby. I've been around, seen some things. I slept in dumpsters, got high with kings. So like he's really just like taking life one day at a time, doing whatever comes however life happens just kind of happens, and he's doing what he does, and he's no fool, because he's like, I wasn't born yesterday, basically. He was, he's saying, so he's not going to be taken advantage of by anyone. I don't know, and it's good, and like, he's saying that, I've slept in dumpsters. I mean, maybe that's true, I suppose. Things happen. I'm sure there's a good story for that. And he's he gets high with kings. I don't know which king, but definitely apparently one of them. And yeah, so I mean, it's fun and it's good, and it definitely does what it's supposed to do. Like I said, this is like for like smoking, drinking, just chilling, sitting on, like, it makes me think of, I mean, I'm sure anybody that's not, I'm sure everybody can visualize like those like fold out stripy sort of like garden chairs or whatever they are. It just makes me think of those, and people just chilling and sitting on those and having a beer and doing what they do, and it's just good and fun. And I think that people would like this, and I think that they probably did. So I gave this a 4.35 on 5.
All right, I don't like this song at all.
Maybe not.
It isn't anything other than the sound. I mean, he's sampling fucking Fleetwood Mac, which is already not like a.
But I like Fleetwood Mac.
Okay.
And I like the line.
I'm a
references
pimp. You can check my stats, and I'm rolling a Fleetwood. That's how I'm Mac. And I'm like,
great.
Oh boy, it's not. This is just not for me. This is like how I felt about Cowboy.
For white people again, we listen to Fleetwood Mac.
No, there are more than one kind of fucking white people, okay? Maybe you country peoples are out there and you can generalize like that, but I'm white people. I don't fucking like Fleetwood Mac. I don't listen to fucking folky. Folk's pretty good. I don't listen to a lot of country. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
And I heard this and it was like the lamest beat, in my opinion. It's slow. It's blah, blah, blah. And then you get to the chorus. I've been sitting here just wasting time. And you're like, oh shit, this is not my favorite. It's not like interesting to me. Drinking, smoking, thinking, trying to free my mind. There's nothing inherently wrong with it. It's a really good airy barbecue tune for a lot of people who love this shit.
Yep.
I don't happen to quite love this shit. I listen to it a bunch, and it's fine. He rocks all the tracks so the world knows he loves all the girls, and he smacks the hoes, and he differentiates. There's like a certain tier of lady he loves, and then his hoes, they're the business.
That's right.
So that leads me to believe the right reasons of escorting is not the sex, it's the money. Life's
Still
a
good
bitch,
reason.
but he deals with it. And it's like, fine. It's fine. I mean, there's just very little in this track other than this aimlessness. He's just, when I say little in this track, I mean for me to like comment on, because he's just kind of chilling and doing drugs and coasting and being himself and living free and wasting time, and it's just kind of what the song's about,
Yep.
Third verse, I ain't no rough guy, ain't no tough guy, don't get out much, don't dress up fly. I'm like, dude, you literally dress up fly.
I think he means like pretty fly for a white guy.
A pawn in the game, that's all I am. Giving up my ducats to Uncle Sam, fuck it. I'm free to do what I please, little lady. I was born at night, but not last night, baby.
That's right.
I'm like, okay, let's dissect that. So he's not a rough guy and he's not a tough guy. That kind of makes me feel like he's a little sensitive and not very tough. He doesn't get out much. He doesn't dress up fly. So he stays home and he's not dressing up. Fair enough.
Well, even when we saw him, out and about in like, I don't know, like award shows and stuff, he was still wearing like jeans and like a wife beater. Like it wasn't.
Okay, fair enough.
It wasn't like he had much to dress up, or he just didn't give a shit.
He's a pawn in the game. That's all he is. Now we're getting an existential look at like the futility and aimlessness of Kid Rock. I just picture him in all-American outfits all the time. Grandiose shit.
I'm looking him up on red carpet events. Yeah, he doesn't wear anything fancy.
And then he's paying his taxes, and then he can go do what he wants. He was born at night, so at nighttime he came out, but not last night. That's like a lot of lyrics to say fucking almost nothing. Like, he didn't really say anything there.
Yeah.
But it sounds alright. It's just kind of aimless. It's kind of airy. It's light. And I think that's almost the point of it. It's like Kid Rock makes music that you really don't have to think to listen to. Like, there's no thinking required. He just says a bunch of shit and it's done. And he's Kid Rock, and he's going to let you know. And I'm just trying to figure out what he's going to let me know at any kind of real level.
He's Kid Rock.
But I feel like we're 6 tracks in, and all I've really gotten of the situation is that Kid Rock does a lot of drugs, badass pimp, wants to go out west, give up the Detroit life, and he's pretty good at really fusiony lives. And I don't say this with any, like, I don't want to, like, sound like I'm being, like, disrespectful to it. This song is just really, again, country-esque and really feels like I would never in my fucking, like, this sounds like some shit, like, you know how they play Metallica to torture people? Country would have that effect on me.
Yeah.
I really don't like it. I
like a few country songs and the rest not so much.
Like, I know I've talked about how I'm not a huge fan of jazz in the past and jazz grew on me.
Country doesn't grow on you.
Country's just boring to me. It's the tempos. It's just what it is. I don't like it that much. It's not to say that there aren't country songs, but you know what happens when I hear Johnny Cash? I don't get excited. It's not that good to me. It's not that it's poorly
Ring
made.
of Fire? Nothing?
It's not that it's poorly made. It's geniusly written, and I don't say that facetiously. I mean that shit. I know how good Johnny Cash is. I still don't want to listen to it. So I gave this song a 4, because to me it was like I was wasting my time listening to it.
Nice.
The last 2 tracks on this project, we've talked about it in another review, so you're going to get like a condensed version of them, making this the halfway point where we're going to end part 1 of the review.
Yeah.
So thank y'all for watching with us. We'll come back real soon and have part 2 out for you, where we'll cover the rest of the project, because while we have given our full thoughts on the lyrics and the content of those last 2 tracks on our early Morning Stone Pimp review, there is still some stuff to be said about them on this particular review. Each song gives us something distinct to really dive into my feelings, at least for me.
So beautiful.
And I'm looking forward to talking about the rest of the album. I'm in a little bit of a mood today, so I hope it don't come off too negative. But I am truly impressed so far by the versatility and ingenuity of this project. Like, whereas Linkin Park's Hybrid Theory finessed the shit out of the cool, young person, edgy nu metal sound that would basically become the favorite thing, I feel like Kid Rock did this same thing for country music here that like Linkin Park did for metal-esque kind of sounds in a different direction a couple years later. And it's cool because you can almost see where Linkin Park built off of what Kid Rock did. And that's dope. I mean, what Linkin Park did, in my opinion, is infinitely better. But Kid Rock did some seminally important for like I feel like if you're a music scholar, this album and what Kid Rock brings to the table is really important. And Detroit has just so many acts that it seemed to be that, like Esham, Insane Clown Posse, Eminem, Kid Rock, like, and I'm certain there's a lot more. Don't get me wrong, I know. And those are just 4 names off the top of my head. All have the word seminal attached to them in some way or another.
Yep.
That's fucking impressive to have a city with so much seminal going on in it. That isn't sperm, people. It's about being culturally significant as the first inception point of something bigger. Anyway, we'll get back to you soon with the rest of the album. I got confused for a second. Let us know in the comments what you thought about this. We'll answer you down there. Hit subscribe, and we'll get part 2 and more reviews. Hit that like button because you're dope and you just want to support us. And if you want to support us more dollars-wise, special thanks to the patrons: Ismail Gadamsi, Chris Prado, Jonathan Barnes, DJ Black Hurricane, Linda Williams, Scribble, and Carl J. back with us. That's right. There's 7 names again. It makes me happy to say that.
Nice.
So they're dope. They get to tell us what albums they want to see us review. And if you want to support us, even if you just want to throw $1 a month our way, please, it would be so helpful. She said I shouldn't beg. I'm saying please help us. We need it.
We're like Aloe Black. We need $1.
It's just, we got a lot of dreams, and you can help us make those dreams come true. And in turn, we'll keep putting ourselves on blast, learning publicly with y'all.
Yeah.
That's what we do. I also have a song coming. I literally, the music video for it is already in the back end of the Behind That Suit channel right now. It's already there.
Ready to go?
It's like it's done. Like my first single. I mean, I've had this sitting there in the back end of Spotify for a month. I've already submitted the second single. Anyway, links to check it out will come soon, but you can pre-save that shit on the DistroKid link in the description of this video. And yeah, that's all I gotta say about that. Live long and prosper, everybody.
Peace, guys.